Welcome to the show. On today's episode, we're discussing all things movies. We're going to Galaxy Comics to talk about the movie industry. We're debating the finer points of Captain America versus Batman. And we're going to dig into a massive Indiana Jones collection at the Ravenwood Museum. There's lots to see, so let's get started. For Shop Talk today, we're at Galaxy Comics talking with Justin about movies, what works, what doesn't, and what they should have been doing from the start. Let's start with the phase ones. When Iron Man first started up, it made it to theaters without ever being mentioned that it was a comic book.
Yeah.
There was no real collaboration between the comic book industry and the movie industry. We're starting to see a little bit more of that now as the phase 2 movies start to come in. We're starting to see a little bit more cooperation. What's been working for you in the shop?
Well, I think everything's been working since the beginning. Like, even though they didn't really correlate them, people knew. Like, people knew Iron Man was a comic before a movie, even though people that are just being introduced to the character, you know, through the movie had to go and find out. But it's worked for sales. I think it's really brought comics more into the mainstream, so more and more people are interested in them, which is great.
My big complaint owning a comic book store for Iron Man was they could have just had something in there that said, you don't know about Iron Man's origin? Go check out Volume 1 at your local comic book store.
Yeah.
That would have helped bring more people in. But
sure.
You're right, most people did. Most people did know that it was a comic book first. What about the DC movies? They started off a little weak. They tried to go big with Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And
they got ambitious trying to plan Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Suicide Squad?
Here's to honor among thieves. We almost pulled it off.
There was one that they had a goal for.
Yeah.
They did end up changing it at the last minute to.
Yeah, they had a plan and they executed the plan, and then they decided, oh well, this other movie did pretty cool, so let's change some things, make it different, because that's what the audience wants. You know, it's like getting an artist to paint a painting and then have him change it because you think someone will more likely to buy it. And,
y'all jokers must be crazy.
you know, they shouldn't have done that. I thought Suicide Squad was their chance. You know, like Marvel's Guardian of the Galaxy was that, you know, exciting, throw people off guard. No one knew anything about the characters. Even people that have been reading comics for a long time didn't really know much about all those characters, and then they saw the movie and it was fun and exciting. I think Suicide Squad could have been that, not necessarily like fun and exciting, but the true form of the character put on film.
Do you think Justice League will be able to hold up to the Avenger movies?
No, I don't. Well, I think I think it could if they do it right. But that seems to be the problem with DC, is that they try to do things that other people are doing rather than doing something for themselves.
They seem to really have a handle on their animated series.
Oh yeah,
actually,
for sure.
More so than Marvel. Actually, so a bit of a juxtaposition.
Maybe they should make a feature animated movie.
Maybe
that might work.
Well, The Killing Joke was essentially a feature animated.
Right.
So yeah.
They did try that, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about what's coming down the pipe in the world of movies. We've got Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Logan.
Nice.
Avengers, Infinity War.
Yeah.
All of these, the second phase movies. There is actually a lot of effort going into these. What are you really looking forward to there?
I'm definitely looking forward to Guardians of the Galaxy. The first one was just so awesome, and it looks like they've just got more awesome coming along. Baby Groot looks really fun.
Yeah, there's a toy that'll sell for Christmas. Yeah.
The characters are just fun and exciting, right?
Yeah.
And I think Logan looks awesome. Like, I'm not a huge Wolverine guy, but I think he's a cool character. And Old Man Logan, if they're going to do anything similar to what they did in the comic, I think it's just a great idea to kind of like cap off the series if they plan on ending it there.
Mm-hmm. And you notice the difference between like the Disney movies and the Fox Studio movies.
Yeah.
They have a chance to. They're not bound by those Disney guidelines.
Right.
Right. They can be a little more edgy. Deadpool, for instance. Right. Never
Yeah, I
been
hear
made by
what
Disney
you're saying
movies.
there. I don't know if they really have to do that though. I think that those movies don't have to be.
They don't have to, but
guidelined by Disney.
They don't have to, but all of these movies have. They need something new.
They have so far, and
Yeah.
they're going to search for new things, and I think that they could go to that more mature audience for certain types of characters. Like if they did Moon Knight or something like that, he'd have to be really dark because he's kind of crazy.
Right.
Right. So if they ever wanted to do a Moon Knight movie, they'd probably have to do it rated R or
Right.
a higher rating anyway.
Right, it'll end up maybe as a Netflix series.
Sure.
But
Those are pretty
there's another topic. Netflix is putting out a lot of the Marvel series.
Yeah.
Defenders is coming up
Yeah, that's
as well.
exciting. It's just exciting that they're doing characters that I guess they may feel wouldn't work in just like a feature film, but giving them more time to develop characters and in a very realistic setting for the characters.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty violent, right? They're pretty realistic
Yeah.
when it comes to, and I mean like Disney has to have their hand in that to some degree because they own the Marvel, brand. So, but those are pretty edgy. And
Okay, let's talk about what isn't working in movies, because there have been some real flops. We
Yeah.
talked about Green Lantern earlier on,
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
I'll throw the third Batman movie in there.
Sure.
What are some of the problems that they were trying to do there? The third Spider-Man movie in particular.
trying to do too much in one film, yeah.
Trying to stuff too much in. There was
Yeah.
that looked like a great film about Sandman, and then they just threw all this extra stuff in there.
Yeah.
In fact, those scenes with Sandman actually were some of the better ones. Actually, it was the Venom stuff they added later.
Yeah.
That tended to be pretty lame.
I think that has a lot to do with the studio that made it. It's not owned by Marvel. They don't have the same best interest at heart. They don't have. They're just making a film, so
Right.
they're kind of making it in an old school mentality. Like most of the movies that came out through the '90s and that were kind of campy or not so great for various reasons. Because I think they just didn't feel like they can do certain things on film. Right.
There tends not to be a lot of strong writing in these movies too, and they don't feel that these characters can carry a movie on their own, so they have to throw in these extra things left and right.
Yeah.
But in the end, if they just focus
Stick
a
to a
little more
story.
on the writing, stick to the story.
Yeah,
Right. And there's
exactly.
plenty to draw from in the comic book world
Yeah,
too.
you can
right?
cram a lot of awesome in a pretty basic story. Look at
Absolutely.
Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was pretty cool. Very basic story. A lot of people thought it was pretty boring or mundane, but all of that cool visual stuff comes in, and it doesn't take away from the experience by having a convoluted storyline with a lot of different characters coming in and out of the screen, right? It's just all cool stuff.
Okay, Justin, would you agree that we're in a golden age of pop culture?
I'd say so, yeah. It's an excellent time for everything. Like movies have really helped put it in the mainstream. Big Bang Theory helps put it in the mainstream. I think comics are awesome right now. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on.
What would you like to see?
I don't know. There's so many things. I really like what they're doing. I'm not really like a big idea guy in that sense. I like to just let them wow me. I would like to see more movies that aren't basically handcuffed to continuity. Like I think like the Marvel direction that they've taken is just so much like it has to be following it in a certain sequence.
My biggest thing about the Marvel movies is that I've continually been surprised by how much I've enjoyed them.
Yeah,
I
too.
wasn't expecting to enjoy Guardians of the Galaxy. I wasn't expecting to enjoy Doctor Strange. But yeah, did. It was there.
And I enjoyed Civil War too. A lot of people, like I've had some pretty mixed feelings about that, but I thought it was just fun and awesome.
Yeah.
And
I skipped the
maybe it shouldn't
trailers.
have been called the Captain America movie. I think that threw people off.
It really should have been another Avengers movie. Yeah, I skipped the trailers, so I managed to have some surprises there.
That was smart.
So yeah, no doubt, right? We're looking at a really exciting time in movies right now. We're looking at a Star Wars movie every year, a comic book movie every year. It's just
It's
all
constant, yeah. And as long as they keep going, I think that they can just keep doing really good things.
Absolutely.
As long as they stay true to the characters and like go with a good written story, it'll work really well.
give the fans what
Star
they
Wars
want.
is really exciting. Like
Absolutely.
Rogue One really hit it. Like I thought Force Awakens was really awesome too, just to bring it back. It refreshed the franchise.
Nice to see the Millennium Falcon flying around.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really fun. But Rogue One was just like a really good movie, and a lot of people hold it in really high regard. Like people are saying it's one of their favorite Star Wars movies, if not their actual favorite, which is so surprising coming from Star Wars.
Yeah, that's saying a lot. That's like
It is
Empire good.
huge.
That's saying a lot.
Exactly. Yeah. For them to say that means a lot for sure.
Yeah, it was good. I don't know if it was Empire good.
Right.
It's like Jedi good.
I agree.
but
Yes. Totally.
Let's talk about the reboots and the prequels. One of the things that's been constantly happening is they have to tell that origin story.
Yeah.
I don't need to know. I know that Peter Parker got bitten by the radioactive spider. I don't need to see it again. They could have just jumped right into the middle of the story, and we would have recognized the Rhino. We would have recognized Peter Parker.
I think that's what truly works. I think it works really well in film, it works really well in TV shows, and it works really well in comics. When you start off, you're just right in the middle of the story.
Yeah.
And you can kind of decide for yourself what happens. And
Yeah.
a lot of people already know the characters really well, especially because they keep rebooting or regurgitating the same stuff in film. You know, like how many times do we need Spider-Man?
How many times do we need to see the pearls hit the pavement, right, when Martha gets shot? It's too much. They really do need to expect that we do understand who they're talking about, know who they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Or just start with characters that we don't know a lot about and just do what they do, and we can, read comics to get their origins or go on Wikipedia or something. Like, just get that information aside, make a really awesome movie, and we'll, dig if we want to dig.
Yeah, if you don't know you don't know Spider-Man's origin, go pick up Volume 1 at your local comic book store. And welcome back. For this segment of The Collector, we're at the Ravenwood Museum. We're talking with Les about his fabulous Indiana Jones collection.
I went begrudgingly. I had a friend who won a movie premiere ticket to the Raiders of the Lost Ark premiere, and I said no. I said, I saw the TV commercial, the trailer, and I went, it's a World War II movie, not my thing. I'm a big science fiction guy, Star Trek, Star Wars, that sort of thing.
For nearly 3,000 years, man has searched for the lost Ark of the Covenant.
And in the end, he said, I can find no one to go. This ticket is going to go to waste. And I went, fine. I mean, it's George Lucas, it's Spielberg, but it's just a war movie. But fine, I'll go. You couldn't have had someone with lower expectations to see a film than me.
It's a radio for speaking to God.
I got my treats. I sat down and again went, all right, whatever. Let's let this. Well, this is me coming out of the film. I could not believe it. It's just something about the character spoke to me about. He's not a goody two-shoes. He has that little bit of a gray area, but in the end, he does the right thing.
Fly, yes! Land, no!
I don't know, just something with that character resonated with me, and from that day forward, it's just something about it made it that it became my passion to collect.
Oh, man.
So my friend who works for ILM replicated the pages from the one in the archive and then aged them and otherwise. Right down to Hitler's signature is in there.
I was just going to ask, where's Hitler's signature?
It's in there on one of the pages. Even the back, the rubbing of the Grail diary that he does. So it's right there. So remember when Indy throws the paper when they find it, and he quickly does a rubbing of it, so there's the whole rubbing of the shield. You can go anywhere and find Star Trek items or Star Wars or, any of those other big franchises. They didn't market as much anymore.
You've got some pieces in here. Some of them are from different manufacturers, but some of them are custom-made pieces. Can you tell us the background of a couple of these?
Yeah, my friend Ron Hembling in Australia, who that is his thing, his passion is customizing, not just Indiana Jones. He does a lot of Star Wars. He's in the military. I believe he does some military pieces as well, but our shared passion is Indiana Jones. So pieces like this one where it's Sala passing down the tied together things, ending with obviously the swastika flag, the scene from the film.
Oh, I didn't even notice the bottom half of the diorama there.
Yeah. He customized the doll, but all the rest of it, this part and the Sala are completely custom. Ron did those himself.
So no matter where you go in the world, you'll be able to watch Indiana Jones.
This is audio and video, so for those of us that are a bit older, we might all recall something called the 8-track tape. 8mm that would play back on your camcorders. CDs, audio tapes, VCDs, which is things like the Philippines and stuff like that, DVD, Blu-ray, another format that existed about 6 months called Super VHS, and then which was sort of leading up to a DVD quality, but still not quite there. Every language that I'm aware of that obviously I've been able to come across, there's Russian in here, German, French, Italian.
So the producers kept people with disabilities in mind as well. You had a recent
Yeah,
recent
they
edition?
did. I'd been aware of this for years and years, but they're very hard to come by. This is the original novel of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it is in 2 volumes because of its size, because it's the entire entire novel in Braille.
When the movies come out, they're always producing merchandise.
Very much so. Yes. And Lucasfilm are the kings of that. They love to tie in with things.
Absolutely. Have you got a few favorite pieces there?
Yes, I call it my holy grail, no pun intended, was that originally in 1981, they wanted Burger King to carry drinking glasses. Now in this day and age, they're always plastic, but back then in the 80s, restaurant glasses were always actual real glass. These glasses never came out. They proposed that they would be done. Nobody knows, it's lost to history, whether it was Burger King, Coke, or Lucasfilm that ended up killing the deal. It is thought there are less than 20 sets of these still left in existence, by their nature, of course, being glass. That's why mine are in a glass case. I don't want the risk accidents happen, so that way at least, you know, they're well taken care of. But this is as pristine a set as I could get. I enjoyed the uniqueness, and that it was more of a treasure hunt to find the stuff. And more personal, having to dig to find these cool items. And it stayed with me from 81 to here we are in 2017.
It just occurred to me, you're the Indiana Jones of movie memorabilia.
Perhaps I am.
There's a lot of beautiful games here across the board, but one game that sticks out as far as component quality is concerned is a game called Star Wars X-Wing. It's a game for 2 players, and like most Star Wars game, one of you plays the Rebels and the other one plays the Empire. If you play the Empire, you get 2 TIE fighters. If you play the Rebels, you get an X-Wing fighter. Each one of you has different pilots with different abilities, and a dial that determines the speed and the direction your ship will be flying this turn. You choose that speed and direction by choosing a number and an arrow, and you flip it over. After that, everybody reveals their choices and moves their ships accordingly. So this TIE fighter, for example, chose to go 4 spaces ahead straight. This TIE fighter chose to move 3 spaces, but in a little bit of an angle. And our X-Wing chose to just move forward 1 space. After that, you get to shoot at each other. First, you determine with this ruler if you're in firing range. If you are, you roll the red dice depending on your pilot's ability of attack. For every star that you roll, the other ship will take a damage. Every ship is only able to take a certain amount of damage, so once that damage has been exceeded, the ship is eliminated. Now, depending on the defending pilot's abilities, you can also roll green dice, hoping to evade some of those hits. And if you're lucky, you are. We continue doing this until one party is completely eliminated. It's a lot of fun for 2 people, so come check it out here at Across the Board.
Welcome to Versus. In this segment, we're going to put characters head to head. In this particular segment, I'm going to be dealing with Batman, Justin's going to be dealing with Captain America. We're going to deal with a couple of different points, and we'll come out with an overall, see who would win in a fight. Justin, you want to start with Captain America's mental capabilities?
His mental capabilities, yeah, definitely. I'd say Captain America is just unbreakable mentally. He's got intense military training, and that just makes him unable to be broken down.
Okay. Batman's very analytical, very intelligent, always been referred to as the great detective. How about their fighting skills?
Their fighting skills, well, Captain America's military training would make him acrobatic, and I think that his shield gives him a bit of an edge because he has, defense, and he can use that shield in any ways. He uses it to throw it around. He understands the physics of it really well, and he keeps the fight at a range.
Batman's had the benefit of a lifetime of hate-fueled motivation and the money to bring all of the tools to the fight.
Never leave the cave without it.
The shield is good, but he can bring all the best toys. Batman can bring all the best toys. When it comes to durability?
When it comes to durability, I'd say Captain America has a pretty good edge. With the Super Soldier Serum, it makes him superhumanly strong and fast, and it seems like he's impervious to bullets and knives.
And that shield, at least he understands the physics of that shield.
Yeah, that shield can really,
Put it where he wants.
Keep things away. All those Batman tools, they'll get blocked.
Batman's conditioned from a lifetime of fighting for his life. He has this superhuman pain threshold that's allowed him to take a licking and keep on ticking. Superman is always handing him his utility belt until he brings out that kryptonite ring and starts dishing out some pain of his own. So yeah, again, Edge, Batman. Okay, so Justin, who do you think has it then?
I'd say Batman has it. You brought some good points.
Nice, nice. Well, for Shop Talk today, we're at Galaxy Comics talking with Justin. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
And we'll be right back.
Hey guys, Nick here from across the board. Today I'm going to be showing you one of the games from our vintage collection called Heartthrob, designed by the famous game designer Milton Bradley. It plays 2 to 6 players, ages for all girls who like boys. The game is played in several rounds. Each round you are going to pick a boy that you like the best and try to guess which boy your friends picked. The first round is based on looks alone to see if you would like to go to the dance with one of these guys. So, you know, maybe you like Intense Trevor or Tassel Frankie or Armpit Bobby over here. So you're going to choose one of those guys, you'd write down your choice, and you write down which guesses you think your friends have chosen. You then reveal what everyone's picked and gain points based on any correct guesses you might have made. So in the later rounds, when things get more serious, you're going to find a little bit more about these guys. So that means you're going to flip over some of these different personality cards. You know, you might find out some of their nicknames, like Grizzly Bear or Lips. You might find out that this guy here wants to start his own religion. Or, you know, this guy has warts on his back. Different things that throughout the rounds might change your choice of man. So every round you're still going to write down which guy you're going to choose and then try to guess which one your friends like. Any guesses you get correctly will get you points. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. So there's a lot of replayability in this game. There are 59 different boys, as well as one seemingly grown man with a dog. It's a bit of a package deal over there. There's also several decks of different personality cards, so they're going to be different every time you play. So it's a great time. Even if you come without a date, you can still find one here at Across the Board. Have fun.
On my rant today, I want to talk about trailers. Usually trailers are your first look at the latest blockbuster. They're meant to be flashy, they're meant to get your attention, and they're meant to get you in your seats.
Jaws. 1,000 worlds.
I think a great turning point in trailers is when they started filming scenes specifically for the trailers. Like this.
Not gonna make it.
I'm gonna make it.
You know, there's not enough room.
You were right, you know. Yeah, there wasn't enough room.
Or this. Unfortunately, all it took were some studio execs to go, wow, those are really good. We need to put those in. And they would backwards engineer the scene into the movie. That started a whole trend of just taking the best scenes in the movies and putting them right in the trailer.
The greatest adventure of the summer. Free Willy.
This was fine as long as you weren't only seeing the best scenes in the trailers. Throw in TV spots and you've already probably seen all the best parts.
007 is facing the ultimate enemy. The man who knows him best.
Hello, James.
What an unpleasant surprise.
006.
Now, despite being such a huge movie fan, I had to stop watching trailers. The biggest problem with trailers is that they started giving away the plot or they would ruin certain surprises. Need some examples? How about this?
You be here.
Or this?
What are you doing?
John!
What have they done to my son?
Or this? Or this? Because let's face it, I would have rather been surprised by Darth Maul's double-bladed lightsaber in the last 20 minutes of Episode 1. I would have rather seen John Connor transform into the Terminator right there on the screen. And I would have liked to have been able to elbow the person next to me and ask, oh man, did that lightsaber have a hilt? And for the whole movie, I would have thought the beautiful woman in the slinky dress stealing from Batman was Catwoman. Now lately I've been lucky. I've been skipping the trailers and the TV spots, so I've missed some great cameos, like this one, or this one.
Well, you've been busy.
We had a little help.
But I still could have gone without knowing Vader was in Rogue One. I could have guessed based on the timeline, but I still would have rather been surprised.
Save the rebellion!
Got to see this one recently.
Forgive me.
And I'll still go see it, just on the off chance that Optimus Prime is killing Marky Mark. I've been going to the movies all my life, and the best parts of going to the movies is going to the movies. Get your popcorn, get your seat, wait for the lights to go down. That's where you're supposed to be surprised. That's where you're supposed to be entertained.
Wow, what an ending! Who'd have thought Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father?
Ah, thank you, Mr. Blow the Picture for me.
Well, that wraps it up for this episode of Off the Hook. I'm Garth Bowman, and we'll see you next time.